Exactly 25 years back, myself and my family moved from India to one of the oldest colleges in India and definitely oldest in Orissa.
So you like to be being uncomfortable.
That is exactly the thought behind Y2K. And then 2009 crash came, except wife.
You change
You have
everything.
changed everything. Fond memories, which I miss now.
So do you want to
Yes.
share a bit about the story about Lord Jagannath? Why a lot of Indian names
Yeah.
are linked with the god names?
Yeah. My clients came to me only when they were actually challenged with finding a good resource. I have got trusted partnership with the Department of Employment, Bank of Ireland, AIB, Mastercard, EY, Aviva, Intel, Aircom, and I have a few clients also based out of America,
Yeah.
just by word of mouth.
If anybody cannot find a talent, reach out to Surya.
Reach out to
Surya will
yes.
find it or make it happen.
I'll make it happen. This watch detected some unusual
Okay.
heartbeats and went to the GP, and that's where it all started.
Bring you to play some golf with me, which can contribute a little bit towards your fitness.
Do compete, but not with others. Compete with yourself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Kam Mj Show. In this episode, we had conversation with Surya. Surya is originally from India, but he's been living in England and Ireland for more than 2 decades. He comes from a very small village, but he has done so well in academic and so well in corporate career that his venture, which is recruitment for specific roles, he has used his wide network and his experience of business, technology, put everything together into his venture. The important aspect which I admire about Surya's story is that he loves being uncomfortable, which is not a norm. Anytime he get comfortable, he need to do something differently, either change his job, change his country, and this is how his lifestyle is being. The key lesson I learned from this podcast is that there is no competition with anybody. Surya believes that you can be a better version of yourself, so you are competing with you every day. You are trying to be a better version of yourself. And at last, I just want to send a personal message that it's been 6 months since I started this podcast. The response is amazing. The support is huge from the community, from friends, from family. So thank you for that. And I hope to keep bringing these inspiring stories to light and keep entertaining. Hi, Surya.
Hello, Kamil. How are you?
I am good. How are you today?
I'm great, and it's such a pleasure to meet you here today.
Great. And I welcome you to the Kam Mj Show. And I'm looking forward to the conversation and your story, which is full of, I would say, the experiences. You have tons of experience, and I'm looking forward to learning from it and also sharing the story with our audience very soon.
Sounds great to me, and likewise, I'm also looking forward to the conversation, interesting interactions with you, and spend a good bit of time with you to even myself also to learn a lot from yourself. So,
Great. We get the
yes,
conversation started?
yes, absolutely.
Great. So, Surya, you've been here in Ireland for a while, but your journey didn't start in Ireland. You were in the UK before, and you are from India. So, how about we start your story from India?
Okay, so it's exactly 25 years back. Myself and my family moved from India to Scotland, and then to Northern Ireland, and then to Ireland. So in the meantime, 25 years have gone, and you just don't feel it that way because we have been feeling so friendly, so homely in this part of the world that we have our roots still attached to India, but this is our home now. Ireland is my home now. So I come from a state called Odisha in India. That was 1965 when I was born.
Okay.
So next year it'll be my 60. I am born to a middle class family, and my parents are usual conservative family. You can imagine 60 years back how it was like in India. So my father had some education, and my mother has very little education. And my father, in fact, the first clothes shop he had in our village. That is how he is renowned in my village and nearby areas quite well, because he being the first clothes shop and then one of the oldest businessmen in the area. And my mother used to be a housemaker. And we are four brothers, including me. And then I have one sister, elder sister. I had education, you know, as I said, I'm from a village, so limited type level of education was available, limited number of schools. So I had the education at my village, primary education particularly. My father, being those days as a businessman, he always wanted the business to continue. He never appreciated that, okay, education can take people far, because that was that kind of time. So he was actually insisting for us to join his business and grow that further, like any other parents would do. Then he soon realized that my teachers, my relatives, everybody who knew me from the academics, they were like giving good feedback to my parents, my father. So he realized that, okay, Surya is doing very well in studies. Let us allow him to excel in that career, and let us give the freedom to him. So that is how I was lucky to get the freedom from my parents. So I uh, grew up in the village. Then for my plus two, or which is secondary level, I was allowed to go out of the house to study in Ravensa College. I don't know if you heard about it. It's one of the oldest colleges in India, and definitely oldest in Orissa. Very big college now. It's called Ravensa University in Cuttack. Cuttack is one of the big cities in Odisha. Then I completed my plus two level, and then I excelled again in the JEE exams, joint entrance examinations for the engineering colleges, and I scored quite well. So I got a seat in NIT Rourkela. Again, the top branch that used to be mechanical engineering those days. Nowadays, people talk about computer science, electronics, and whatnot, all fancy things, but basic roots are in mechanical engineering. And I got in there admission, and I completed that. I graduated in 1988, and I got a offer from Nalco, and joined there. But I was like, from the beginning, I didn't settle for things. I always wanted more. I always wanted more. That's like me, even now. So what's happened is that when I get into something and go to the comfort level and become comfortable with that, I think of changing it, moving out, getting into something different, something new. So that's exactly happened. Even now it's happening. I'll come to those things.
So you like to be being uncomfortable.
Yes,
That is
I
your
like
comfort
to be
zone.
exactly, absolutely. You got it right words. So I try to expand my comfort zone all the time. That is how what I am today from those days. So, and that is how I was. I think I mentioned you earlier. In my 35 plus years of career, I have moved 25 companies in India, in England, and in Ireland. Together 25 different companies, and for last nearly 7 years I'm full time on my business. Again, different dimensions to the business happening every so often, and I'm comfortable dealing with those, accepting those, acknowledging those, and going ahead with those opportunities and challenges. After working for Nalco for about a year, I moved to Mumbai for a engineering consultancy company. Straight from engineering to I went to engineering consultancy. Then soon after that, I got into management consultancy in Mumbai. Then soon after that, I got into market research, techno-economic feasibility studies, and things like that. And then I studied CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, in early 90s. That was the CFA degree was introduced in India, I think, in 1992. I got enrolled in 1993 and completed within 4 years in 97. And then at one point in Mumbai, I switched to IT from engineering, management, consultancy, and all that kind of stuff. I changed my career to software technology. That was just before year 2000. Y2K thing came up, and that was a kind of a revolution for Indian.
Let's talk a little bit about Y2K, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of the new generation do not understand
Do not-
Y2K.
Yeah.
It was a big thing.
It was absolutely.
Everybody was thinking, the whole internet is going to go down.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Y2K.
Yeah, so that is exactly the thought behind Y2K, and that kind of revolutionized Indian IT industry. All the big companies that we're talking about, like Wipro, Infosys, TCS, Mahindra British Telecom, all those big companies, they became giants within that period of time. That was a real boom. So Y2K stands for year 2000. Okay, and year 2000 being divisible by 4, but it's a 100th year, so it is not a leap year. Okay, so after the computers are introduced, that was the first time the whole human society in the world came into a situation where they're saying, okay, it's supposed to be a leap year, but it's not a leap year because it's a 100th year. And that would probably bring down all the software, because all the systems, integrated systems into those days, into say washing machines or whatever way TVs we used or any gadgets we used that has got a chip and some programming, that would crash. So that was the fear. And then everybody started to amend that software to become upgraded and to become Y2K proof, so that they can survive the market and they can have an edge over their competitors. So that was the kind of race in the software industry going on, and India became the preferred choice for all those American companies, European companies. So that is how all the big IT companies got loads of business, and that changed India's IT landscape. That changed aspiration for IT for the people. Lot of people came, non-IT people wanted to be in IT, which is actually it's a good change. Regardless of the impact of Y2K, the good side of the thing was that India is now globally renowned. That was probably started with this Y2K thing, Y2K fear.
I think it was more a fear, and more, I would say, the rumors around
Yes.
the impact, and nobody know what's going to happen when the clock will hit 2000.
Exactly.
And everybody was assuming that this will break or the chips will fall and all that part. But I think luckily nothing happened to that kind of extent. But there was a fear of unknown, that what will happen when the clock will hit 2000.
Exactly. So that the uncertainty factor
Yes.
played into everybody's mind, and nobody wanted to take a risk.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to play safe. But after that, people realized that, oh, okay, it didn't play impact as much it was expected to be.
Yeah.
So, anyways, good things happened out of it. A lot of opportunity for people like me. I was in the engineering industry for 10 years by that time.
Yeah.
But I got a chance to switch to IT. I made my career. It allowed me to move from India to England to Scotland to start with in 1999. Actually, I moved from India to Glasgow, and after about a year working for British Telecom, I moved to Belfast, worked for British Telecom in Belfast, continued in Belfast for a good few years, and then 2009 crash came, where the financial crash, again a lot of job losses and things like that. I had a unrest time around that time. I was, to be honest, I was also jobless for a certain period of time, but luckily I again survived, and survived with a big bang. Like in 2010 I had 2 jobs, and I was actually working on 2 jobs. I was like, on weekends I was working on one IT technology company job, and in weekdays I was working for another company. So that came as a blessing in disguise. So all that happened, and I was like, with my nature of unsettling for a job for a long time, not even job, for except my wife always jokes, except wife
You change
You have
everything.
changed everything.
Uh,
So yeah, so that's actually a fact. Except so I have been changing jobs every 1 year, 10 months, 2 years. Maximum I have worked for a company is 5 years.
okay.
And
We'll talk a lot about the change.
yeah.
You have a tremendous career. Also, we will talk about the cycles of .com bubbles and 2009 and all, because there's a lot of learning
Mhm.
which you have gone through these ups and downs, and I
Mhm.
believe we are going through one of those downs at
At
this
the
point
moment,
again.
yes, yes.
So we'll talk about that down in the conversation. I want to go back to Odisha.
Mhm.
I have a couple of things I want to talk to you about. um, how was it your upbringing with four brothers and a sister?
Mhm.
It's a big family and a lot of kids around.
Mhm.
Was it always that joyful, or was always more around fighting with brothers each other?
My elder brother is very elder to me. He's elder to me by 15 years,
Okay.
and my elder sister is 7 years elder to me. But my younger brother is only 2 years younger to me. So for my younger brother, we are like, both of us are like more of friends
Yeah.
than brothers. Actually, we used to go to school together, play together, study together, fight together all the time. For silly things we used to fight. And I have so many memories of fond memories, which I miss now. So we used to fight a lot, even manual fight,
Manual fight. Yes.
very usual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but when my parents find out, or it gets to a certain level, and my parents get bothered with our fights, shouts, and whatever, always I was fired back.
You get the blame.
Being the elder one,
Yeah, you get the blame.
regardless of whose fault is, whatever reason it is, I used to be, uh, you know, shouted at by my parents that, oh, it's your fault. You are the elder. You have to be able to manage. You have to be able
Yeah.
to handle the situation. So my younger brother used to always go scot free. So,
Yeah, yeah. You did very well in your academics when you were growing up in your
Mhm.
school and then your engineering. So outside the academic, how was Surya? Were you into sports, or were you more, we call the bookworm?
I was into sports, cricket and badminton. I used to play cricket for my school, and badminton also along with that sometimes. So both games I used to play that those days, even afterwards in the college also. Even recently also I have played badminton here sometimes, but then I more was called as a bookworm. More into focus was more into studies, analyzing things, and even all the toys. I will tell you one thing: all the toys that my parents used to bring, I used to break them and analyze how it is, how what is there inside, what is that making it to do the what it is doing, or it's a small car or bus. What is there inside? How it rolls? I used to break it to
Yeah.
see what is there
So
inside.
that's where
So
that mechanical element.
engineering,
Yeah,
mechanical
yeah.
thing, and I'm actually those days I'm even very good at DIY. I My energy level doesn't permit me nowadays, but then earlier when we settled in Belfast house or in Dublin house, I've done a lot of DIY for small things.
So we're gonna go back
Mhm.
to Odisha, because one thing which I am more familiar with Odisha is Lord Jagannath.
Yes.
So can you tell a bit more about that story?
Yeah.
And I have few friends from Odisha where this festival is a huge part of the community and the culture there.
Mhm.
So do you want to
Yes.
share a bit about the story about Lord Jagannath?
Yes, it's absolutely my pleasure to. I feel blessed when I talk about Lord Jagannath, and very close to my heart. And even geographically, I come from Puri district.
What is it? Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
and then I want to tell you one thing which many people here don't know. The temple which is set up here in Dublin 12, the Hindu temple
Yes, I've been
VHCC.
to that one.
Oh,
Yes.
you have been to that?
Yeah.
Have you seen Jagannath,
Yes.
Subhadra,
Yeah.
Balabhadra,
Yes.
Lord Balabhadra? You know what? That whole concept started from me.
Okay. Very
Uh,
nice.
for installing Lord Jagannath, Balabhadra, and Subhadra. That whole concept, like about, I would say, in 2017, 16, that time it all started. Then when they acquired this new premises where it is now, and wanted to reinstall all the deities and in a bigger scale and bigger premises. So I came up with the idea of installing Lord Jagannath there, and we, gathered people, gathered funds, and gathered all resources required to bring our own god from Orissa to install here. And I feel so proud to see Lord Jagannath there today, sitting there in the temple,
Yeah.
and it feels so good.
From your culture perspective, from Odisha, what values do you still hold, and you pass on those values to your children?
The value we bring is like, we want to hold to our cultures, we want to hold to our homeland. They are ingrained in us, which I feel that it's not that much in the next with the next generation uh, kids. But then I am thankful that my kids are not different from our thinking. They are kind of in between the new generation and my generation. So they are, and they respect what we expect from them. They try to preserve that. So to that extent, myself and my wife, we talk about it a lot, and we are happy about it. We feel okay. Yeah, at least our children are to some extent conservative. They listen to us, and they are kind of feel obliged,
Yeah.
and try to stick to our culture. Like, for example, my daughter, uh, she was only 1 year old when we moved here, and she still holds to Indian values, Indian cultures, language, and she is very fond of Bollywood movies. She is a very good Bollywood dancer. She enjoys dancing. My son has become slightly different because he moved out of our house uh, for about 12 years now. Ever since we left Belfast, he went to England, mainland, for studies. He studied aerospace engineering, and after that, he's worked there, settled there, got married actually 2 3 months back. But still, he is very closely attached to us and holds some of the values. He can speak Odia, our mother tongue. He can speak Hindi and Odia. But my daughter, she understands everything, all colloquial languages, anything in Odia, if we speak, anything in Hindi we speak, she understands, but she kind of little hesitant to talk because
Talk.
she was so young when we moved here. But my son even speaks Odia, speaks Hindi.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the routes,
Mhm.
which is tons of experience, Surya. But before we move to routes, the name Surya, what it means?
Surya means sun in the sky, and according to Hindu culture, sun is uh, Surya is revered as the god, because we get a lot of energy, our life sources, and everything. So, like, Hindu culture, anything that gives energy, anything that gives power, anything that gives good thought, anything that gives fear is a god. Okay, so no, undoubtedly, sun we call Surya Dev, or sun god,
Yeah.
is God's name. And all my brothers and my sister also have got God's names.
Okay.
Those days it was like, my parents and their generation used to think that, okay, if we have our children on the God's names, we whenever we interact with them, call them by name, we are actually chanting God's name, and directly or indirectly we are forced to take God's name.
Yeah.
We normally, unless we are forced, we don't go to the
Yeah.
temple. Unless we are forced, we don't take God's name. That's human behavior.
Yeah. No, that's
So,
very good thought process
yeah,
there. Yes.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
many people in India hold on to the thought that, okay, if we give our kids name to gods, that will directly or indirectly help us, and my parents are no exception.
Yeah.
That is how I got a name.
That's a
Surya.
very, very good concept. You clear why a lot of Indian names
Yeah,
are linked with the god
yeah,
names. Let's move to the routes. So you moved after working in Mumbai. You moved to Scotland,
correct.
correct?
In Mumbai, I was there for about nearly 7-8 years.
7 8 years.
Mhm.
Okay, and you were married by that time when you moved to Scotland.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you moved to Scotland and then you moved to Belfast with the same company. How was working around that time, especially being in England and Northern Ireland? How was working environment or working culture that time?
Yes, here working culture is definitely very different. The way people work here, it's like more organized, more structured. In India, to some extent, we miss it. That is how probably we in India back home we end up working long hours and whatever, and the risks are not managed properly or not envisaged properly. Probably in India we don't manage the risks well, but here that comes with more structured way in the good organizations. That's one thing, that difference I saw. But another very peculiar thing I went through when I landed in Scotland is like the Scottish accent is very difficult to comprehend. And straight from India, straight from I was like not a English educated person right from my KG. I started opportunity to learn English, study English only when I was in class 6.
Yeah.
Class 6 means what? 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Until then I was speaking learning only Odia. So coming from that kind of background and being coming from a village, obviously I was not very comfortable with English those days. Obviously I picked up a lot better when I went to the college and things like that, and then Mumbai and all, working in the corporate world, I picked more than from the school days. The knack of English speaking, writing I was okay, but speaking was always, there was a kind of, oh, we're speaking in a foreign language, that kind of thought was always there.
Yeah.
So English was not coming naturally those times. And I landed in Scotland and it's English, but very, very different accent.
Yeah.
So in the meetings and all, I used to have terrible times. So somehow managed, like I was not comfortable in the office meeting, and to be very honest with you, I've not told about this to many people.
Yeah.
But then that was the fact. So that was the kind of cultural difference or work ethic, work culture difference I saw.
Yeah,
Small,
I think
small.
there's an element of work life balance,
Yeah.
which is I
Miss-
believe is also coming to India. It's already happening there
Yeah.
because it's a big country. The
Hmm.
change take more long time
More long time. Yeah.
than a smaller country. So
Mm.
absolutely, in certain parts of India, in certain sector, it is
Yeah.
already happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's going to take time to get
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
majority.
And it also depends on in what maturity level we are. Like here, it's a grown, matured economy.
Yeah.
In India, it's a
Still
growing economy still, or probably it is matured at few places, few areas, but then still last 20-25 years is a kind of a not reached the maturity, that kind of level. So a lot of hodgepodge happens when you are not matured.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. So you moved to Belfast with your same company, British Telecom.
mhm.
What made you to move to Ireland?
2009, I was in Belfast, troubles, um, good few jobs cut, financial crunch, and my nature of changing jobs, not settling for a long time in any job, all that happened. And then I actually, something that I should have realized sooner, but I realized only that time, that Dublin, not far from Belfast, has got tremendous opportunity for jobs, tremendous opportunity for technology, ours people, um, because it has got so many companies. It's a kind of a Silicon Valley. All American top companies, top 1,000, out of top 1,000 companies, some 800 companies or 850 companies are having some kind of establishment in Dublin. So kind of whole America's replication is here,
Yeah.
which I don't know why it took so long for me to understand this, but I did understood. I did understand in 2011, 10 actually, 10. In 10, I started working for a company here in Dublin. That time I was totally commuting from Belfast to Dublin every day. That was the kind of opportunity in disguise for me to make a transition or move from Belfast to Dublin. When I started working in Dublin, I realized there are so much of opportunities and so many companies for technology and all. And thankfully, I got my when I decided to move that time in 2011, I got a very good offer from Bank of Ireland. So I too accepted that, started working, and then my wife also, who was uh, willing to make a career in IT, she got a breakthrough in 2012. So it was easy for her, and my son that time he completed GCSE, which is uh, 10th, no, which is like end of junior cert, or end of living certs. He completed that from Belfast, and he was going to Bath University in England for further studies, graduation and masters. So that all timed quite well. So my son went to England for studies. We all moved to here. My daughter also got a admission to Wesley College here in Dundrum, very good college, private college. So it all worked out for us. And one thing I would mention that with all those moves, transitions, uh, somehow all those transitions have actually worked very smoothly for me. I don't know whether it was a strong mindset, willing to move. Yes, I'm moving, regardless of whatever happens, that kind of level of acceptance, making things easier, or whatever it is, blessing in disguise, grace of God. So all transitions have worked smoothly. So that is where I am here from 2012. We have settled here all the time in Dundrum area.
Yeah. Before going into your own ventures,
Mhm.
you work for some really big
Yes.
brands.
Yes.
As you mentioned, Bank of America. What other companies you work for?
Yeah, Bank of Ireland, Allied Irish Bank, Accenture, um, Citibank in here, Fidelity Investments are those 5 big companies I have worked here in.
All money related
All money
businesses.
related. That is again because of my CFA, which really helped me
Yeah.
to gather all concepts around businesses, banking, and all, management accounting, or mortgages, or even stock trading. Like I worked for New York Stock Exchange at one point. That too, New York, not for the stocks, but for derivatives, options, futures, swaps. Uh, those kind of areas, very novel areas, very difficult to grasp concepts.
Yeah.
There, it's not easily comprehensible.
Were you more on the tech side of
Yes,
building their
yes.
products?
Yeah,
Okay.
building the products, quality control, delivery manager, dealing with clients,
Okay.
all those things I have worked with. Product releases and managing customer expectations,
So
client
do I
expectations.
call you more a fintech guy?
Fintech, yes,
Yeah,
totally
absolutely.
fintech. So because of my CFA knowledge, it helped me settle into those areas, understand those concepts well, so that obviously, if you can only build technology if you understand the domain well, concepts well.
Yes.
What product you are building, if you don't have the grasp of it, you will not able to develop a
Yeah.
good product.
No, you said absolutely right. You need to understand the business before you start delivering a solution.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
nice.
You have
Very
to
nice.
understand what customers are expecting, what customers are talking about. Translating that to product is important. And many, unfortunately, even I have faced it, and one of my ventures actually failed because of that. uh, uh, People don't give that importance to the understanding part. That's why a lot of um, project delays, project overruns, additional overheads, costs happen to lot of projects, and they can
Yeah.
cause to even failure of companies' projects.
Yeah.
Financial failures, and that has happened to me also. Probably we'll talk about it
Yes.
later. One of my project failed.
Yeah. So after more than 2 decades of working in corporate fintech area, you accumulate wealth of knowledge. What made you to go and start your own venture?
Starting my venture was always in my mind. Doing something independently, doing something new, doing something on your own.
Yeah.
That my mindset is always there, and the hunger for more, like which always has been in with me. When to stand out, like to stand out of the crowd, from the crowd.
Yeah.
For that, you have to be something different. You have to do something different. So that thing has always been with me.
Before we go into your current venture, which is very successful, let's talk about the ones which were not very successful and which give you a lot of learning. So, when you moved from your corporate career, what did you start?
Uh, uh, One good thing I did was that I straight away not jumped from a corporate career to my business. I established my business. For a couple of years. I was running it alongside my corporate career, and then I saw one thing is that I saw gradual success there, not a lot of success, but some success. Secondly, my passion for doing something, like when I was just crossed 50, that was like 7 8 years back. I felt like, thankfully, my children are grown up. They're kind of doing well. They're studying well. Uh, my son had, I think he was already graduated from with aerospace engineering degree that time. So that okay, let me try something different. It's only one life.
Yeah.
All that we can do is only one life. We have only one chance. Now I am cross 50, financially stable. Let me try something. One of the main things was to, how to spend your time every day fruitfully, effectively. That is to have something that satisfies you, something that you are motivated to do, and something that you think that you will prosper.
Yeah.
So that is why I wanted to set up the business. Um, but then, as I said, setting up the business or doing something was always in the back of the mind. So uh, before I got into this successful venture, I had tried few things, and I had like somewhere some success, but majorly failures, which is why I didn't pursue it further. So one of them was, I was mentioning about the engineering consultancy. So I want that is how most of the big Indian IT companies have been doing for years. And even now, people approach me, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this?
Yeah.
But I actually tried, and I was not happy with the way things turned, the way the resourcing a part of it, and how it was implemented for the client. I got a Irish client who wanted a solution around the payment gateway using Stripe and all, and they wanted a solution around it. And I got an Indian consultancy company who promised to deliver it, but on the way they faced a lot of hurdles. So that kind of discouraged me in continuing further. After, with a lot of difficulties, we delivered the project, but then that kind of prompted me to stay
Yeah.
away from it. And uh, that was one I didn't pursue further. And another one was a herbal product, which is very different from, it's a herbal trading kind of a retail kind of a
Yeah.
business. The purpose was, okay, the motivation came from my own observation of the product. Because I used to read a lot about health stuff, like what brings good health, what are the good ingredients that we should
Yeah.
use. So naturally, haldi, turmeric, came in as one of the first things. Then black pepper,
Yeah.
then cloves, then ashwagandha, and then high fiber products and tulsi, all those things came up. So what I did, I started making a drink, morning drink of my own for
Okay.
my sake. What I did was I added all those ingredients with coffee powder, dark chocolate powder, and I prepared a box which would last for me if I take 1 or 2 spoons of it
Yeah.
every morning with just mixing it with hot water. That would last for about a month. I prepared one box and use that.
Something
And
like a healthy energy drink or
healthy energy
yeah,
drink
yeah,
morning, to keep you active during the
yeah.
most part of the day or whole day, to avoid crashes and all that kind of thing during the day. So it actually worked. It actually, even some of the ailments, not major ones, but
Yeah.
few things I had earlier, and they disappeared over a
Yeah.
period of few months after I started using it.
So
Of
what
course,
what happened? Why it didn't work out?
yeah. So that product I wanted to productize.
Yeah.
Actually, manufacture it in large scale and build a market for it and sell it through Amazon and all. I did lot of research.
Yeah.
I went to India after when I left my 9 to 5 corporate job. In fact, I went to India, spent 6 months at one go to study where I can source it. I met people, vendors, the manufacturers, producers of different organic products,
Yeah.
and even I went ahead with package design, which is still sitting in my computer.
Okay.
I bought a license for the barcode for it, built the website, registered a company here in Ireland. My purpose was that the product will be manufactured in India, and with all the ingredients that I will tell them, sourced organically. One place they will be packaged, and we'll have marketing entirely online through our own website, through Amazon or through similar bodies. And then whenever the order comes, it will be uh, packaged uh, delivered from India straight.
Okay.
Not the product actually will not land here,
Land
but
here.
it between India and the customers
Okay.
anywhere in the world we can
Yeah.
service. So that was the concept. On that basis, I did a lot of things. But then for India, somebody to, we need a big setup
Yeah.
to manufacture it, package it,
Distribution and all. Yeah.
distribution, delivery, and all that kind of thing. So I faced practical challenges there because while I was working on that, I also at the same time started working on my current project. Uh, Between the two, I felt that this is more promising. This is more
Yeah.
service oriented, not physical movement of goods are involved. And whereas in the herbal product, a lot of coordination is required, big team, you know, big setup, manufacturing setup,
Yeah.
and commitments, timely commitments. Somebody has placed the order, you have to deliver within certain time. A lot of SLAs and things like that. It's a great thing to do. In fact, now the afterthought after COVID is that like such products during pandemic, they like went crazy.
Yeah.
The health products, they were all selling very well. So, and this all concept came in 2017-18. I was doing all this. So if I had actually established that, that would have really taken a good pickup during pandemic. But then that didn't happen. Somewhere I lost the interest and motivation for that, and then focused on my current business, which kind of picked up
Yeah.
well to make me happy. So content. But now even I'm ready. If somebody is interested in
Yes.
that product, they can still do it.
Yeah.
Just that I didn't have that capability or resources available that time to take it
Yes.
forward.
No, I hear you loud and clear because I have faced similar challenges where a logistically challenge
Hmm.
product and services
Hmm.
require a lot of resources, a lot of hands-on. Whereas the one you said is less logistically challenged, you have a lot more control,
Hmm.
is more likely where you can put more effort into, because you have more control in your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
If I talk about the podcast, it's a very light logistics uh, project for me. I can control 95% of it.
Yeah,
Where if I talk about the herbal business, you have to rely on a lot of different parties, a lot of people around the world to make things happen. So absolutely, but I think you pick on very important thing, which I think important for people to understand when they are exploring their ideas. They need to understand how is it to run that. It's not about starting it, it's about running it. Running also require a lot more work, a lot more experience, a lot more engagement, financially, people resources, and so on. So that also need to be evaluated when exploring an idea of where can we go with that.
yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about the gem, your current business. What's the name?
Yeah, the current business is Softest Consulting Services Limited.
Okay.
So before you ask me why the name Softest, it's actually a combination of two words: software testing. Softest. I just
Okay.
combined them to Softest, and because after about working for nearly 20 years in the IT, 20 years in IT, I was towards the end of my career, I was mostly doing software quality assurance, automation testing, and leading the teams, and building automation projects for software testing, delivery, and all. So automation pipelines over the CI/CD, those kind of things I was doing. So I thought, okay, let me um, start the resourcing, recruitment, and placement services business in that area. Uh, and I got some contacts also that time from some of the, due to my previous engagement with local companies. I got some contacts, connections, and started in a very small scale.
Okay.
And that time, that was I think 2018. Again, that was the time when I got about 50 year, and I was trying quite a few things, where to settle, where to do, and what not. So I I got good clicks there, working out few connections, contacts, and that slowly picked up. But even that point, I didn't expect, or I didn't realize that I would be one day where I am today. And okay, it's going, it'll go on.
But you had really good important there thing, Surya. You work with a lot of clients, right? You build a huge network, which you did not, I won't say value, but you didn't recognize the potential of that network when you were inside the network. But when you step out, you see that, okay, I have a huge network. There is a common problem of resources in that network. And that's where you think, one and one can make an 11 for me here. And that's where your soft test comes and play a role.
Yes, and here I would like to mention one thing. My company is actually a specialized, a boutique kind of company. It's not like a general recruitment company in technology. My clients came to me only when they were actually challenged with finding a good resource. Because I worked in different areas of business and technology so much, I understood the requirements, the job descriptions. Some of them are very tricky. Some of them are asking for very niche skills, very specific skills, which most of the recruiters didn't understand. So they were not able to provide good candidates. So their candidates were failing because they didn't have those basics. But whereas it was easy for me to understand what actually involves in this job.
Because you understand the business, you understand the technology, and you can put those things together. So Softest is a specialized recruitment
technology recruitment company.
Okay.
And my company doesn't hire like general project managers, for example. My company hires automation engineers having skills in say ETL, data, or business intelligence, or some specific areas, Tableau, or this or that. That kind of some kind of niche is attached to it, which is why my company, because of my understanding, because of talking to candidates and doing a pre-selection round of interviews with them, I could capture, okay, this guy is having that kind of skill or not, which is not easy for others to do. and that is where my varied experience came as invaluable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my clients know me that way.
Yes.
So those kind of things, like when uh, they don't get good candidates, they come to me. But then challenges are that some of the candidates for some skills we couldn't even find in here,
Yeah.
non-existent. They're either there in the UK or in India, but not here. So that is where I help people even to move from India to here to fill that
Okay. So
skill
do
gap.
some sort of a relocation element as well.
Relocation, I helped with that, and
That's good.
at the moment I have got trusted partnership with the Department of Employment,
Okay.
due to which I am able to facilitate sponsorship and their relocation to here, and quite a few people have been successful with that side of the business also for me.
And Surya, what kind of clients do you have at the moment? Without naming them, just sort of what
Yeah,
domains you fit into.
even I don't mind naming them because I have got real good names.
Yeah.
Like my people are working with Bank of Ireland, AIB, Mastercard, EY, Aviva, Intel, Aircom, and I have a few clients also based out of America, but they have clients in Ireland, but they cannot have a setup for the consultants to work on behalf of them for their clients.
Okay.
So I have partnership with a couple of companies like that to help them set up a establishment here and service their clients. So that gap also I am feeling. So there are all kind of very niche. Not all tech recruitment companies do those things.
Okay.
And then I have, again, many of these areas of business were not planned, but as I went into it, I found the niche areas, I found the contacts, connections, requests. Then, being a small company, flexible, we tailored around the requirements from our clients, and we were able to provide the services. um, and many of my business that comes nowadays is not from direct marketing or anything,
Yeah.
just by word of mouth.
Word of mouth. So in a summary, I'm going to explain: if anybody cannot find a talent, reach out to Surya.
Reach out to
Surya
Surya,
will
yes.
find it or
I'll
make it
I'll
happen.
I'll make it happen
Nice. That's
within
very
the
good. That's very unique, and it's very promising, right? Where I won't call it it's overconfident, but you know
It's
what you're
practical.
talking about, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
have done it
practical.
over
Yeah,
and
yeah,
over,
yeah.
and you
Mm.
you can make things happen
Mm.
because you have that big vast network and you
Yeah.
understand more in depth of what business wants. So what's the future aspiration of Softest?
Future aspiration, um, though don't want to sound negative, I don't know whether you know about it or not. I went through um, open heart surgery.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
You didn't know? That's not very long ago, only 1.5 years back, and that was sudden, unexpected. I didn't have any symptoms. This watch detected some unusual,
Okay.
heartbeats, and went to the GP, and that's where it all started. Some tests and all. Then it revealed that I have 3 major blockages
Okay.
in my coronary artery, and then I was immediately admitted, and they did things there in Beacon Hospital. So I went through that. So after that, and as I am also approaching 60, with all that, I am trying to, step out of my business, so not trying to grow it like as a not like with full of zeal. I have the zeal,
Yeah.
but my objective is different. I want to, even apart from business, yes, I have seen, got so much of experience, seen the life, and I want to take the things easy also, not
Yes.
like a horse
No,
race all the
absolutely.
time.
Especially you need to focus on the health,
Yes.
especially at the time where you have gone through, very important surgery. So you need to make sure health comes first.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to slow down. That is the reason I was mentioning that only businesses I'm taking is the which is coming word of mouth, not actively going up and all. So whatever in the remit, in that, without too much of pressure, is workable.
Yeah.
I'm trying to execute it.
One thing I can help you, Surya, is bring you to play some golf with me, which can contribute a little bit towards your fitness.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and go out and get some fresh air.
Definitely, I am very much open to it, and that's one other thing I want to talk about afterwards.
I want to ask you a question about, you have seen lots of ups and downs,
Yeah.
right? The
Mhm.
2001, the 2009.
Mhm.
What what's your perspective, and how did you overcome those challenges over and over? And now I think we are going through another one.
Mhm.
Call the crisis, call financial crisis, whatever
Mhm.
crisis that, right?
Mhm.
You have seen a lot.
Mhm.
What is your view, and how would somebody come out of those crises?
Crisis always comes, whether you expect it or don't expect it, um, and then we consciously or subconsciously get prepared for it. But if you try consciously and work in a direction, little bit in a planned way, um, then it is easy to get over. To some extent it is luck, but then I read every now and then that there is nothing called luck. It is like opportunity and hard work put together is luck. So so yeah, and also opportunity doesn't always come knocking your door. You have to go and grab the opportunity. So keeping an open option about learning new things and expanding your comfort zone, going out of your boundaries and trying to do something different, something new each day, every day, even though it despite very small, that kind of brings wholesomeness in your uh, attitude, in your approach to life, approach to work, and your mindset for overall. So if we have that kind of thinking and hardworking, uh, being what we think is a preparedness, even in our own definition, with expanding comfort zone, that will also expand
Yeah.
automatically. So if you are saying, feeling that we are prepared, then, and we are everything to be prepared, then that itself will help a lot for our to be prepared to face those kind of unexpected, unpleasant situations in life.
And at the last, I want to ask you, what message do you want to give to our audience?
Yes. So I would like to say that have the competitive mind, do compete, but not with others. Compete with yourself. Be Try to be a better version of yourself day after day. Each person has its own pace, own set of things they have to do. They have to perform their mindset. Nobody can copy anybody. That's a general fear that okay, I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about what I am doing because others can copy, but nobody can copy anybody's thing. So whatever is your goal, objective, try to refine it every day. Go out of comfort zone. Be a better version of yourself. That is something I can say. So history is full of different kind of examples, like some person becomes a CEO at the age of 30 but dies at the age of 50. Some person becomes a CEO at the age of 50 and runs it till 90. Each person has its own pace. No, but nothing is good or nothing is bad. So not to compete with anybody,
Yeah.
and just compete with yourself. Be a better version each day. That is something I would like to say.
That's great. Thank you. So, Surya, it's a pleasure talking to you and listening to your story. And thank you for sharing the wise words. And I hope you enjoy the conversation on the show. And I'm looking forward to see you on the golf course.
Yes, golf course is definitely something I will make it a point and will make it workable. And thank you very much, Camille, for the Kam Mj show. I had a extremely brilliant time talking to you for last about an hour or so. It was a brilliant experience to go through my routes and routes and the entire journey. Even when I was talking about it, a lot of things I could relive which is a very pleasant memory for me. We touched upon a lot of different areas, and from our conversation, if we can see somebody benefiting, that will be absolute delight for myself and for yourself too, I'm sure. And yes, it has been a brilliant experience being here. I Before coming here, I had some fears how it will go and all, but I feel very comfortable. Thank you very much for taking time and efforts for organizing this and making me very comfortable, enjoyable journey. And I wish you good luck with your video generations, and I'm sure it is going to inspire and motivate a lot of people in the future times to come. And all the best with it.
Great. Thank you, Surya. Lovely talking to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.